Welcome to Hot Topics.
Hey.
We're back.
We're back. Hey,
We're back.
and we're together in my kitchen.
Well, I was away all last week, so we did not do any of our Hot Topics. And I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know.
It's been weird
Yeah,
from going
very
like
weird.
talking. And of course, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, I was in non-internet land.
Yeah, that sucks.
When you go really far northern Ontario, the internet goes slower and slower. And it was funny because like, I could get internet on the main road, but if I drove to sort of where we were, which was about 3 kilometers in, no internet. So no data. It was very limited. 7 years passed, so I don't know whether my service provider just slowed it down. But the place has Wi-Fi, but unfortunately that didn't work either. So I felt
Central Wi-Fi doesn't really work.
no. So
Every time somebody says there's, this club or this resort has great Wi-Fi, and you're like, no, it doesn't. It has Wi-Fi. It doesn't have great Wi-Fi.
yes, it was very challenging. I had all these plans. I mean, yes, I was on vacation, but I still had plans to do different things. I had stuff to do with clients. I had some calls. We had some things planned, and
Plans went on the wayside.
exactly.
Me too. I had that kind of week too.
How was your week?
All the plans went out the window. Same thing. So, you think you have to switch. You have to figure out what you're going to do, right? So, unfortunately, I thought I was on my own. I had to do some packing and stuff and get organized over here, and I wasn't. And then my one of my kids ended up in a camp, and so I had to drive him back and forth. It wasn't close. So every day was a limited number of hours. So what you think you're going to accomplish sometimes just doesn't happen.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
I think that's okay. Sometimes, the whole, best laid plans, and you have to be, I think you have to be really flexible.
Really flexible.
Yeah. Well, I know, so when we were up north, as you can well imagine, it's the hospitality industry. So we're still here in Ontario under a lot of COVID restrictions.
Right.
So they had to figure things out literally on the fly.
Yeah.
So again, the best laid plans. So if it was raining, as an example, they would bring us breakfast or dinner into our cabins. If it wasn't raining, you were to go on the deck. But there's those kind of moments where you're like, do they consider this rain? It's kind of rain. It's not really rain.
Yeah.
And I just think sometimes we need to be patient with our plans because, again, best laid plans. And I think it was really interesting because they don't know. I don't think people realize that business owners, they don't know any more than we do when it comes to restrictions and protocols and stuff like that. They're doing their best to figure things out and adjusting their business accordingly. So we had to be very patient. Sometimes the best laid plans, we were hoping to do this, but we couldn't.
Right.
We had to do it this way. We were planning to do this, but now we have to do this. So there was a lot of flexibility that you needed to work into your life. But again, we were on vacation, so it doesn't matter.
And sometimes I like, I guess not if you're going on vacation and you have like a 7-day vacation, it kind of sucks if it's raining, like half of them. However, when you have a cottage, so you're there like a long extended time and there's a rain day, I kind of do a happy dance because then you don't have to do anything that day.
So it's your fault. She was doing happy dances.
There's no, you don't have to run around and go to the beach and take them here and there and it's sunny.
Well, because you have all summer.
You have all summer. So it rains, you go, that's okay. Maybe I can just clean up some stuff and read a book, which is why I don't know why I say that, because I haven't read a book in a couple of years. I read if you guys are part of our book club, we do all the summaries of books, which is fabulous. And it's the way to go because if you don't have time, you can get just a nice little summary of the book. But you actually started to read a book.
Well, it was funny because I was complaining about the rain because it rained like probably for 3.5. So it literally rained half the time we were there. So I sent her a note and I was like, I have no Wi-Fi. I'm in the rain. We're in our cabin. And she goes, well, book summaries, right? And I was like, that would have been amazing, except I didn't have internet.
Right.
So I couldn't watch the videos. So I did read an actual book. Like an actual book.
Like a novel?
Yeah.
Like a fiction?
Yeah.
Wow, is it good?
Actually really good.
Oh.
Yeah. So what I really like, and I think this is interesting. So what I really like about this particular author is the fact that like one chapter would be sort of part of the story from my perspective. So Stacy did this, Stacy did that, if it was a book about us. But the next chapter will be the same scenario, but from your perspective. So what are you thinking about it? How do you view it? How does it impact your life? And then multiple. So then it moves on sort of to the next. So I find that really interesting because I like to look at things from different people's perspectives.
What was the book? I forgot.
It's by Lisa Jewell, is the author, and all of her books are similar to that because I've read probably 5 or 6 of hers. I can't remember the name of this one. I think Watching You. It's her. She has one more that's coming out. It's just released in the UK and it's coming out here in North America in September. But her most recent release is this one. I think it's called Watching You. But I love Lisa Jewell. I just love that. I love looking at things from different people's perspectives because what I find with books and stuff is they'll tell a story,
Right.
but you don't know how each character interacts with that or what they're feeling when they see this particular person or then what they were thinking when they see them. It's really cool. She does a really good job with characters.
So is it like anything exciting happened in the book?
Not yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
okay.
There's a very interesting character that's just, I've read about half of it. So it's very good. I'm just kind of, the second half of her book, she kind of does them in 2 different parts, is really, really good. So interesting though. And that's sort of what is sort of top of mind today is just different people's perspectives. And you never know. So interesting. Yes, it's called Watching You, is you never know who's watching.
Right.
So whether it's on the internet, whether it's in your business, whether it's on social media, or whether it's just actions that you're taking around, you never know who's watching. So over the past week, so we were away at a cottage for the past week, and my son took it upon himself to help out these little kids. So all of these little kids, there was a ton of them, and they needed help getting up with water skiing. So he decided that he was going to go in the water with them and hold them so that they would be able to get up and go water skiing, which was really great, but you never know who's watching. So we had a person who was very well known there. She's been going there for probably 50 years or maybe more than her whole life. And she came to me at the end and she goes, I'm just letting you know that I went to the office and I talked to the owners and I've recommended him for a job next summer if he wants it because I've seen and I've been watching him.
Wow.
And I'm like,
That's
watching
awesome.
who? Because
I haven't been watching him, but you have.
Right. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I'm so impressed by the fact that he's giving up time on his vacation. And these kids are now, he's made their summer. They were able to get up. They were able to water ski. They were able to do all these things because he decided that he wanted to help them. And he goes, I'm just so impressed. And then at the end of the week, I had parents, like, it was so weird. I had parents like lined up to say goodbye to him. And I'm like,
that's great.
I'll just stay over here. I'm just the mom.
So would he be interested in working there next summer?
I don't know. I mean, it would be a great opportunity, but you know what? It's a whole year away.
Yeah.
So things happen with teenagers, as we all know, with adults for that matter. Things happen so much in a year. And it was very different this year because of COVID. So it was just nice. It was nice to see that he had all of these kids coming to say goodbye and thank you. These parents like coming and saying goodbye. So you just never know who's watching. So I used to teach way back, social media safety and all of that kind of stuff. So social media, online marketing, whatever you're doing, people are watching and you never know who's paying attention.
Yeah, we've been discussing, we're starting Gia Summer School, and we have been posting about it because we're very excited about starting the next session. And it's interesting to see who's direct messaging you with questions and comments. Some people you know,
Mhm.
and you're like, wow, I wouldn't have ever expected them to message me on doing the school, because it just never occurred to me. I thought they were doing one thing and now they're transitioning and doing something else. And they're sort of like, okay, I need to understand how to, get visible and how to get out there. You guys are always on social media. You're always doing lives. How do I do that as well? And that's what we're teaching in summer school. But it was kind of interesting because, yeah, you never know where they're coming from. So
even people, though, so just because, so as with a launch, you go through different funnels and you go through different, so we have a webinar that we've been promoting and, for free. And I think the thing that's been surprising me is who's signing up for that webinar. People I haven't seen in years and years and years.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it's like, oh, I wonder what they're up to.
Yeah.
Oh, so you never know. You never know who's watching and who's paying attention.
Yeah. So that's a perfect
perfect
segue into the fact that, summer school is approaching, and we have our bonuses that are, if you sign up before tonight at midnight, then the bonuses kick in. And this is not a sales call here on our live. It's just that I want to remind people, because so many of you are interested, and I want to make sure that you get in, because then you get actual access to us other than just watching our lives. So
ask questions, study groups, all of that kind of stuff are all for the people that sign up for the early bird.
And I think it's an interesting time, because for me, summer is the perfect opportunity to kind of start into something. By September, October, you want to be ready. You want to be full blown. You're out there. You're launching your business, or you're relaunching, or you're doing whatever is necessary. So summer is the perfect time that you can say, okay, I'm going to work on my business, because things are a little slower, right? Things are a little slower. So let's work on my business. Like get it in, and then boom, we can get it, out of the gates really quickly in the fall. So for me, it's the perfect time. That's why we love, we've been pushing the book summaries for you guys. They're free. Come join us, read the book summaries, help yourself get better at what you do, and then really think about, is it time to be visible out there just like we are? Is it time to get people to know who you are and what you do? Because the biggest thing that most people come to us with is, I realized that I needed some training. I needed to get started because people don't know what I do. Right? They don't know what I do. I thought they knew what I did, but they don't know. And so that's the perfect time to say, okay, let me now focus. I'm good at what I do. I got it down. I know I can help people. I have a great service. I have a great product, but nobody knows that I actually have that.
That's always fascinating. I think it's so fascinating when, do you know what so-and-so does? And, so-and-so does not do that. They actually do this. And you're right. Summer is the perfect time to buckle down, spend some time. You can be at the beach. You can go for a walk. You can enjoy the nice weather on your deck. You can listen, which I love, but you're right. Client work slows down, business slows down, people slow down. So it is time, you can kind of kick back, focus on your business. And then in September, when you're ready to kick it into high gear, you're ready.
Well, I remember there's somebody that we both know. And someone asked me,
lots of people
they asked me where he worked, what he did. And I've known him for 12 years or something. And I couldn't answer the question.
Really?
I couldn't answer the question. I'm like, I'm not really sure. And that's like not good.
Yeah.
If you've known somebody for that long and you can't answer the question, then they need to really, focus on telling people what it is they do. And maybe they just don't know. That's what most of us do. A lot of coaches come to us and say, I don't have enough clients, probably because people don't know what you do. Right? You're not out there. You're not niche enough for people to understand this is the person that I need and the solution I need. So it's a great question to ask yourself. If do people really know what you do? Ask some of your friends that aren't exactly close, but still friends, or ask people that, literally ask them, the people that you kind of know, acquaintances, say, do you know what I actually do? And it'd be interesting to find out if they could actually,
I actually did that. And so my friend who, she's not in business, but she was up at the cottage last week, and I took that opportunity because I know that we say that a lot. So I wanted to see if she actually did know what I do. And she did.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Well, we're out there a lot. You guys see us all the time. All our posts tell about what we do, and who we help, and the fact that we help people get visible online, and we help people really grow their businesses, and digital entrepreneurs is where we focus. So if I think everyone knows what we do. I don't think I know everyone knows what we do, but ask yourself, do people know what you do? Because if they don't,
seriously, ask a friend who's not in business, followers. You're right. People who might not know you very well. And it'll be very interesting because if they know what you do, you've been very clear.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think what ends up happening with coaches is they say, but I coach.
Yeah.
And then they think that people know what they do because people know that they coach.
Yeah.
But with coaches, that's not enough.
No. You have to know what you coach, who you coach, who can you help solve their problem? Who is it that you're actually helping? That's a big significant one that you need to really answer if you're a coach. Coaches are the most vague out there, right? Because they think they can help everyone and coach everyone. And so that's a huge problem. If you can niche it down, then you'll be very successful, but you actually have to niche it down. But what's, interesting on the flip side is when you do all the work like we've done, and we have podcasts, we have videos, we're online, we have a lot of social media, we do speaking. So it's interesting always that when you get somebody that says, oh, yeah, I was watching you the other day, right? Like, and it's interesting because you don't, again, know who's watching you. So when they actually tell you that they've been watching you, it's really, and it always surprises you. Even if you use your analytics and you see who's liking or watching, especially your stories and that, you're like, interesting who's watching them.
Absolutely. And that's why it's really important to go back and look at your analytics. Look who's opening your emails, who's doing your lead magnets. It might surprise you to know that just those people have been paying attention. It gives you a little bit, because sometimes you feel like you put things out into the world and you're like, anybody out there? Because sometimes you don't necessarily get those immediate responses back. Right. But again, when people start direct messaging you, oh, I really like that. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, and asking questions. And then you see who's doing that particular lead magnet or signing up for the quiz or the webinar. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, they were. And somebody I haven't seen for literally like 5 or 6 years, all of a sudden it was like, oh, wonder what they're up to. So you start to Google and you start to go, oh, that's what they're doing now. And I think because of COVID, a lot of people have pivoted. Right. So I think it's really important to ensure that people know what you do going forward.
But I think yesterday nobody watched because everyone was watching tennis and then they were watching
soccer
or football, depending where you're living.
Yes. Soccer here in North America, football in all the rest of the world.
So it was even the drive home because it was the final, I think we left with, I think about 5 minutes left on the soccer game in regulation time, not counting penalty minutes.
Did you get home before it was over then?
Well, we actually listened to the penalty, not the penalty kicks, whatever they are at the end. We listened to those on the radio.
Oh, wow.
So it was really exciting listening even on the radio.
That was crazy. I would never ever want, I just think that's a really crappy way to end a series, to win the absolute final cup winner of everything with penalty kicks or whatever they're called in soccer. I just can't imagine that. So it's literally, and I thought it was funny, it's like, that was all the goalie. Yeah. Like the goalie won everything. Because
I was talking to my son on the way, I'm like, geez, being a goalie in soccer is hard.
Well,
that is like, how do you help us stop that thing?
Like hockey, the net is this big and the human is this big. Soccer, the human is this big and the net is this big. Like, it's fascinating. But what I found really interesting was with the penalty kicks is that the goalie has to make a decision.
Right.
Before that person kicks, because you have that, however length of time it takes to get the ball to the net, they have that length of time to make a decision. And literally as soon as they kick or just before they kick, they have to make a decision right or left. Yeah. And you saw sometimes they made the right decision, meaning they leapt and they were able to block the ball. But other times they made the wrong decision because they went one way and the ball went the other. So like, what a crappy way to be, where it's like, all right, I got 50-50 chance.
Well, it's funny because I mean, I love watching. It's one sport I really love watching. I don't really watch many sports. I love it because it's such a beautiful game. It's very pretty and it is. But as we were watching, my son pointed out, he goes, "Oh, it'd be really great if they just weren't such, divas in terms." He didn't use that word, in terms of, every time they pretend, they do a lot of pretending. We all know that, right? When they get hurt, and I get it. They don't
fall and it's like, oh, I'm gonna die.
And he pointed out, if somebody can get cut in hockey, and they'll go out, get 8 stitches, and come back and play. It's a different sport. But I do love.
Very true.
Right? It's interesting. It's a beautiful sport, and it's fun to watch, and it's everything's beautiful, right? The colors are beautiful, like the feel, and I actually
even the people.
And I really enjoyed. I watched tennis, and I didn't really watch the last match. I watched the one with the Italian player, the semifinal. Who was the final? The Italian player. Yes, that's right, the final.
I'm not sure.
And it was the final, and because the Canadian was in the semifinal, right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't pay attention to
and
him,
I was like, I said, who am I going to vote for? Well, I'm going to vote for the Italian guy because he was just so cool. He had a backwards baseball cap on. He was dressed just cool. He was very cool and young.
Perfect way to decide.
And I was like,
not on tennis ability.
No, he's got my vote. I don't know anything about tennis, and everybody else was watching, knew everything. I didn't. So I was just like, he's got my vote. He didn't win.
No, that's okay.
But he won in style.
He did win in style. Soccer players win in style too.
They
so
do.
I've always cheered for Italy. So
Me too.
Very happy that Italy won. We have a lot of people who were cheering for England, although there was only one person that was cheering for England that came up on my feed.
Colin?
Everyone else was.
That would be Colin?
Yes. Everyone else was Italy. And they actually it was funny because they showed a map of the world, and they said the amount of people that were going for Italy, and it was like the Italian flag was everywhere except for England. And it was the only place that was cheering. I was like, oh.
It was funny. And then when my son was looking at his feed, and he's like, oh, everybody in the Italian neighborhoods, Woodbridge and that in Toronto, were going crazy because they won. And
exactly.
It's pretty funny. So, and then I just want to point out, before anyone says, well, hockey, all they do is fight. I want to point out that after the soccer game, there was big brawls not by the players, but the fans outside of the arena or stadium.
Crazy. It was I don't know what it is with soccer fans. They're very, very passionate, shall we say, about their sport. They're passionate about the game. They are intense.
See, the difference is in hockey, they fight on the ice.
Yeah.
And in soccer, the fans fight outside of the arena. So, as much as everyone says hockey's violent, I don't think it's very violent. You're covered in a bunch of equipment, right?
In hockey, yeah.
And there's occasional fight once in a while. But, in soccer, it's just like fans without any equipment on.
Yeah, they get very intense, for sure. But
anyways, but congratulations to Italy. Good job. And congratulations to, whoever won the tennis match. I don't know who you were.
Lots of sports. Yeah, lots of sports going on. And it is nice to see the switch from the past year and a half, right?
Yeah.
Like lots of fans in the stadiums watching the games.
Yeah, it's starting to feel a little normal.
Yeah, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. Feels a little. So does anyone else feel a little weird though? Like, when people go to shake your hand and I don't want to shake their hand. It's like,
well, and the conversations that are taking place. It's like, oh, hey, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh, me neither. Oh, it's really great to see you. So I'm double vaxxed.
Yeah.
Are you vaccinated? Like, we haven't even said hello. How are you?
Yeah,
it's just, hey, so are you vaccinated? Are we not? No, I'm double vaxxed. No, I'm single. Like, these are the first things that are coming out of our mouth. It's very odd. Everything's still a little creepy. And some people are still like totally freaked out and don't go near people. And some people want to hug you. I'm not the hug. Well, I didn't like the hug in the first place, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm kind of liking that world.
I'm not a very big fan of that yet. I'm not there. I've been double vaccinated. I know Canada's probably one of the leading countries in vaccinations now, believe it or not. We were at the bottom and now we're at the top. I think the goal is by end of the summer, 80% or something, which is crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But But yeah, so we're highly, highly vaccinated, and I'm still a little uncomfortable. Our restaurants, believe it or not, finally open. We've not had indoor dining.
And we still don't, as of coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming up on Friday, we can finally allow people inside of a
and
restaurant.
it's still socially distant. So
Yeah.
essentially, it's basically 50%, right? Because if you move over the tables and all that stuff. So, but it's interesting. Do I want to go? Yes, because I want to go to my favorite restaurant this weekend. I'm thinking about going. I should actually put that.
You should make a reservation.
Yeah, I should make a reservation now. But I'm still not 100% comfortable. Even
Well, and it's interesting when you see people. So again, last week, of course, what ends up happening at a cottage where you see the same people year after year. So these are week one people. So but it was like you'd see somebody and you'd stop, right? Whereas before, that personal space was probably, those personal space limits were probably pushed a little bit because you're talking a little bit closer in years past.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of, I don't have an issue with it because all of a sudden it's like, oh, hi. And it's like this like permanent 2-meter barrier that people are carrying around with them. And there's no issue with personal space. So for me, I'm not a big close talker. I don't like when people stand close to me and talk and lean in. I lean back and then they lean in further and then I start to go backwards and it's a dance and it's not fun. But now I don't have to worry about that. So from that perspective, I actually really like the fact that all of a sudden it's like, oh, hi. And again, you have that 2-meter distance and you're talking from a good distance away.
Right.
I like that.
Me too.
So that was definitely an interesting shift, which is good.
But on the flip side, I'm like looking at, there can be 15,000 in a concert venue. And I was like, wait, hold on, I'm first in line.
I saw that yesterday. And the new word, like I also think is really interesting. The word before, like probably from like March 2020 to like March 2021 was pivot. And now I feel like the word is now capacity.
Yeah.
Like that. I was joking. I was like, you could literally make a drinking game out of the amount of time the news channels would say capacity. Capacity here, capacity there. What's the capacity? I was like, concert halls.
I was like, so I was like, is anyone coming to Toronto? Is anyone going to play? Because I'm in. So there's a couple of acts, but not, I went back to my Budweiser arena or stadium, whatever you call it, Budweiser Live list, and they were still rescheduled for next year. So I'm a little bit sad.
Because they're outside, so I saw it, and I was like, I know I'm seeing her today. So
there's a couple, so we'll see. But they're not like huge or anything. But I would just love to go to one concert, just one concert.
I think that would be, again, that normalcy, right?
Yeah. So hopefully, so any of you out there are big celebrity singers and are thinking about coming to Toronto, yes, please come.
We'll be there, front row.
We'll come and see you there.
All right. Have a good Monday. Remember the early bird bonuses for our Global Impact Accelerator program and today, but we do start on Monday. So you do have the week to sign up. So we will see you Wednesday and we have hot topics. No, we don't. This is hot topics. We have Master It Monday today at noon. We're talking about hashtags. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. We'll see you then.
Bye.